What's going on, everyone? It's Jesse, and you guys are on my Painting with Jesse page here on Facebook. Give me one quick second to jump on my feed here. I'll start saying hello to some of you in just a moment. Where am I? Where am I? Where's my notifications? This always takes a minute or two. Not quite. There we go. I think I found it. All right, guys, I'm here a little bit early just to say hello to some of you, to answer questions, that kind of thing. Hold on, almost there. I see my feed, but I don't see my comment section. Okay, what's happening? Where's my comments? Where's my comments? It's about, sorry folks, give me 1 second. I do apologize. I'm trying to find the section where I can see my comments. Otherwise, I can't say hello to you guys, and that's no fun. Part of the fun for me is to say hi to you guys. Please be sure to say hello in the comments. Hang on, here we go. I think I found it. Nope. Come on, Jesse. Not sure why this becomes so difficult sometimes. I can't say hello to you guys if I don't find my feed. I mean, I see my feed, I just don't see the comments. And the same thing happened yesterday. It took a while to get everything going. So give me 1 minute to try this, and then if it doesn't work out, well, I'm going to have to do this without my comments. But part of the reason why I came on is to be able to say hello to you guys. Say hi to some of you and answer questions and things like that. And I think I found it. Come on, Jesse. Come on, what's wrong with this thing? Here we go. All right, we're on. Wow, that was crazy. Yolanda Villar Shembri from New York. How's it going? Itzel Vasquez Vidal, hello. What's happening, everybody? I just want to thank you, all of you, for being here today. I'm sure we got a bunch of return visitors from last night when we did the Charlie Brown It's a Great Pumpkin. Okay, so welcome back to all of you. Tonight, after the Coraline event at 5 o'clock, so 1 hour after, we're gonna be drawing and painting today for about 2 hours. We can't go beyond 2 hours because I've got another event to prepare for right after. So we're gonna be doing this for about 2 hours. But after that, once Coraline's over, we're going to be doing Maleficent. Can you guys see Maleficent? You can. Look at Maleficent over here. Pretty crazy looking Maleficent, but that's what we're going to be painting, drawing and painting at 5 o'clock Pacific time. Okay, so just want to give you guys a heads up on that. So after Coraline, 1 hour afterwards, that's what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be teaching you guys how to draw this whole piece, Coraline completely all the way through. I'm going to draw. There's no stencil for this one, so hopefully you guys are ready to do a little bit of drawing. And I'll go over this again right at the start time. We're a few minutes away. We're going to be needing a pencil and eraser to start with, so make sure you got that handy. Karina Alanis from California. How's it going, Karina? Winchester. Jessica Chacon from Winchester, California, as in Winchester by Hemet, by Menifee, because you're like 20 minutes away from me, 30 minutes away from me. How funny. Cool. Michelle Castillo, how's it going? So anyway, yeah, 5 o'clock for Maleficent, okay? So anyway, folks, really quickly, just want to go over a couple of things. I'm here a little bit early. Again, I'll repeat this when we get going, but I want to make sure that if you guys see any comments in the links if you see any links in the comment section, trying to take you to some other websites where supposedly they're going to be playing the feed for today's video. Do not click on those. They are scammers trying to take your credit card information, your personal info. I don't know exactly what it is. I know for one lady, they tried to charge her for supposedly streaming the live video, but it's here on Facebook. You don't have to go anywhere, so please do not click on those links, okay? Elizabeth Trejo, what's happening? How are you? Let's see. So guys, if you need the Maleficent, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to draw Maleficent. If you guys need the tracers for it, the stencils, please email me to paintingwithjesse@gmail.com. Now, I don't know that I'm going to have too much time to answer any more emails after this is over. Get your email in. If I can get to them, I will send out as many as I can. Okay, but no promises. I do apologize. It's just been a hectic schedule today. But anyway, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to draw this whole piece, okay? And then after we draw it, we're going to be painting it. I'm going to be using acrylic paint. I'll show you guys what those paints look like for those of you that maybe aren't familiar with it. You guys can color it in with whatever you got. Markers, colored pencils, watercolors, oil paints, chalk, whatever it is you guys have, that's what you guys will use. And you can also draw it and paint it on whatever surface you've got. I'm going to be using canvas, same size canvas as this, 16 by 20. So just want to make sure you guys are all aware of that. Let's see, let's say hello to some of you guys. Jackie Alst from Pahrump, Nevada. How's it going? Good. You received the Maleficent tracings. Fantastic. Hopefully those come in handy. Your daughter's named Coraline, huh? Granddaughter. I think you said granddaughter's named Coraline. Cool. Well, hello to your granddaughter. Maybe she's there with you. I don't know. But, okay, Jessica. Yeah, so you're my neighbor. Crazy. You're not too far from me. Rosemary Montenegro. Yes, this is going to be fun. In about 3 minutes, I'm going to repeat all the instructions, but I want to go ahead and make sure you guys all understand how this works. So what I do is I show a step on, so I bring everything close, I flip things around, I'm going to be on that side of my table, I have a canvas, I've got the original painting next to my new canvas, and I do a step, then I give you guys a little bit of time to do that step. Okay, in between every step that I do, I give you guys a little bit of time to catch up and do that same step. Okay, you want to try to keep up, especially with the drawing part of it. Now, if you happen to fall behind too much, or if you simply can't complete the painting with us today, don't worry. This video, the recorded version of this live session, will be available after the live is over. Okay, so if you went to the live tab on the main page, let's say you're looking at Painting with Jesse on your Facebook, up in the upper left-hand corner somewhere, there's a live tab. If you click on the live tab, every previous video that I've done is on there, and this one will be on there as well. So again, if you guys can't finish with me today, or you fall too far behind, you have to leave for whatever reason, the video will be available for you to go back to. Okay, so don't stress too much. We're here to have some fun. I maintain a pretty good pace, but I can't go too slowly and I can't go too fast. Okay, I try to find kind of a medium pace where most everyone can keep up. But undoubtedly, some of you are going to have a different pace. Don't stress about that. Relax. We're here to have some fun. You know, just do your best, and you'll be okay. All right. So let's see. Bonnie Porter, thanks for what you do, keeping us all engaged in art and great distraction from all the other crazy stuff going on in our world. Certainly, lots of crazy stuff going on. Part of the reason why I did start this page, not the page. I've had the page for a while, but when I started doing the tutorials, the videos, was partly for that. It was right around the end of March, early April is when I started, and it was part for that, to connect with people and get some art, get people more interested in art, that kind of stuff. So absolutely. Yesy Alicea from Puerto Rico, what's happening? Yesy, welcome. Diana Bryce from Palm Springs, hello, hello. All right, guys, let's go through the comments real quick before I jump back on and start talking about what we're doing today. Let's see. Let me see. Sorry, folks, I don't have my glasses on, but it looks like Shonalyn. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm seeing a little tiny bit blurry. I need some glasses now. Hello from Alberta. How's it going? I'm supposed to be getting other stuff done, but I want to paint now as well. That's right. Tough choices we got to make, but you're here with us today, so awesome, awesome. I think you made the right choice. We're going to have some fun today. And then Lily and Roberto from California, welcome back, guys. I think you guys have been here with me before. So I do want to say welcome to all of you that have done this with me in the past. Thank you guys for coming back. For those of you that are new, if you're first timers, please let me know in the comments that you're here for the first time, and say hello. Let me know who you're painting with, where you're painting from, and then who you're painting with. Okay, I like to say hello to you guys. Especially at the beginning, the comments fly by really fast, so it's hard for me to keep up with them. But as we go through, as we start, and we're going to get started here pretty soon. As we go through, I do go look at the comments. I say hello. I give shout outs. If you have kids that are painting with you, please put their names in the comments so I can say hello to them and that kind of stuff. Okay. So all right, guys. It is 2 o'clock. So here's how we're going to do this. In a little bit, I come around to the front. I bring the camera in close. I'm going to be drawing first. So you're going to be needing a pencil with an eraser. Okay. Every time I draw a step on my canvas, I am going to be using a canvas. You can be using whatever you've got. I give you guys a little time to do your, so I do something, then give you guys some time to do it as well. Okay, so we go like that all the way through. The drawing part of it is probably going to take us about 45 minutes, and then after that we paint. Depending on the pace and things like that, it's going to be at about the 45-minute mark. Once we're done with the drawing. Excuse me, 45 minutes to an hour is how long it's going to take us to draw. Once we're done with the drawing, we're going to go through and paint. For those of you that are going to be painting along. Maybe you're not painting, maybe you've got markers, maybe you've got colored pencils, chalk, whatever it is that you guys have, that's what you're going to be using. I'm going to be using acrylic paint. I'll talk about them a little bit more when we're ready to paint. But basically, I got a bunch of acrylic paint colors over here, and the colors that I'm going to be using are dark blue. I'm also going to use some white right for our moon, but I also am going to use some white to lighten up this blue for the lighter blue part on the painting. I'm going to be using some red for her shirt, and then her skirt is a light pink, a pinkish color, so I'll probably either mix this with white, and I do have some pink over there if I wanted to use the pink instead. I've got some yellow and some red and a little bit of brown and a little bit of white that I'm going to use to mix for her skin color. If you don't have a skin tone, I'll talk about that at that point, but don't stress too much about it. If you're painting, you also need paper towels, okay, because things get messy. And then I've got a cup over here with some water in it and my brushes. I'm not going to be using all these brushes. Looks like I've got a whole bunch in there. Don't worry about it. A lot of them are duplicates, and I'll talk about that also when we get going. All right, so pretty much, guys, we're ready to go. Let me see. Nicole Curtis, hello from New Jersey. Here with John and our son Luke. Fantastic. Welcome, guys. Welcome, welcome. My sister-in-law Lindsay's on here. What's up, Lindsay? She put on their hashtag best painting instructor. Awesome. What's up, Lynetta? How are you? From Katy, Texas. Welcome back. I know you were here last night with us. So welcome, Lynetta. And then Samantha Sherman from Nova Scotia, Canada. My daughter's painting with you guys tonight. Fantastic. All right, guys. So let's get going. Get your pencils ready. Get yourselves nice and comfortable. Stretch if you need to. Take some deep breaths. I know sometimes people tend to get pretty nervous about having to draw some freehand. Here with me, it doesn't matter if you don't have a lot of experience. If you have no experience, it's all good. Okay, I will teach you guys how to do everything on here. The main thing is to have fun. Okay, don't want you guys stressing out, freaking out. I want you guys to have some fun. Okay, that is the main goal. Everything else is secondary. Okay, but again, I will be teaching you the steps over here on my canvas. I'm going to bring the camera as close as I can where we can see. We still have both canvases in view. As we go along, you guys have questions, you guys have comments, you guys want to say hello, you guys know other people that are here painting. Maybe they're in separate, you guys are in separate houses. You guys can say hello to each other, interact with each other, all of that good stuff. Okay, this is about having fun. So that's what we're going to do. Just give me a couple, maybe a minute or so to get things adjusted here so that everything is nice and optimal. Like I said, we're going to be drawing first, and then we are painting. All right, let me just do a little checkup on my laptop, see if I can see what I've got on my screen here. This is how I check. I monitor the feed on here. For some reason on my Facebook, the feed is frozen, but your comments are not. All right. Wow, looks like the feed is really far behind. Not sure why. Hang on one second, folks. Here we go. Here we go. All right, just going to bring my camera in a little bit closer. So I can capture as much of everything as possible, as close as I can. Okay? I think that ought to do it. Okay, so we're going to start drawing here in just a second, and what you guys are going to do is you're going to draw. We're going to start with Coraline's head. Okay? A couple of little things. I teach you guys how to sketch things out. And we can get really super technical to make everything super proportional and perfect, but we're not going to do that today. This isn't that kind of drawing. I'm going to give you some quick tips on how to get things nice and right on whatever it is that you're drawing this on. First thing we're going to do, anytime I approach a drawing, I take a look at the overall shapes. And what do we got? We got Coraline, who's nice and skinny. She's pretty narrow. She has a big roundish head, more like an oval maybe. Head on top. That's the prominent piece of the entire painting is her head. Then her body, of course, and you got the big moon behind her with the tree hand grasping over the top of her head. And then you got this dark area behind her, and then that light blue area behind her. Okay. We're not worried about anything else right now except for Coraline. That's what we're going to start with. Now, what I want you guys to do is we're going to start with the bottom of her skirt. I normally start at the head. Actually, no, I'm sorry. We are going to start at the head. We're going to start at the head. Here's what I want you guys to do. Whatever it is that you're drawing on, okay? Obviously, you have different shape, either canvases or papers or whatever. Mine, of course, is vertical, so it's taller than it is wide. Somewhere up in here, near the top, towards the top of your page, you're just going to draw a nice little light line that goes across like this. We start really light with our pencil marks, okay, so that we can erase if we need to make any corrections. This is going to be approximately the top of her head, okay, and I know it's going to be a little hard for you guys to see what I'm doing here for now, but I'm going to darken it up light a little bit more in just a moment. But again, this is just the line for the top of her head. Make sure you leave enough room for that big old hand over the top of her head, right? There's going to be a hand that comes up in here, so make sure you leave some room up in there. So next thing we want to look at, once you've got that line over the top up in here, what you want to look at is the general shape of her head. And we're going to lightly sketch that general shape, okay? Nothing perfect, just kind of close. We're going to do that here in just a moment, but let me explain this first. So if I was to do this on the original painting, and I went like this, so that my fingers encompass from the edge of her ear to the other side of her head on the outside of her hair, and I did this, I brought this down to the bottom of her chin. I went 1, 2, there's about 2 heads in her body. Okay, I could fit 2 of her heads in her body from her chin down. Okay, a quick way to gauge proportion on anything that you're drawing, whenever you're drawing something, so you kind of get a general idea as to measure parts of the drawing against each other. Since we're starting with the head, I want to know how wide I need to make that head. I'm just going to come over and I go like this. 1, from the chin down, there's 1. There's 2 heads that fit in her body. So however wide I make her head, I want to make sure that I can fit at least 2 of those heads in there, about 2 heads. Okay, so I can even do this. If this is the top of her head and the bottom of her chin is about down in here somewhere, and I'm just going to go ahead and mark it off. This is about where the bottom of her chin is. I can do this. Okay, so from here I can go. How many? I need 2 heads in here. 1, 2. As long as I can fit my hand like this twice inside of her body, and I go like this, now I know how wide her head is. I'll do this again in just a moment. This is probably the most technical part of this whole piece, but it helps you get nice proportions. So again, I just kind of came over and I gauged about where the bottom of her chin would be, right in here. I'll repeat this again. I'm going to go really slowly at the beginning, then we start to pick up speed a little bit. So here's the top of her head. I made a nice little light line across. I gauged about where I want the bottom of her chin to be. Okay, about. Then I went like this. So from the chin down to the bottom edge of the canvas, I need to have 2 heads. 2 heads fit in there. So I can kind of just use my fingers. I'll go like this. Make a little adjustment. That looks about halfway. Then I go like this. Yep, 1, 2. Now I know how wide to make my head. So I just come up here and I go like this. Real quickly, I've got the width of her head. Okay, and I can just kind of come in and now sketch lightly about the shape of her head. Right now we're not worried about perfect lines or anything like that, just nice and light. And let me go ahead and darken that up a little bit. Again, folks, it's probably the most difficult part of all this, so don't stress out. Just kind of gauge it so you can fit 2 heads from the bottom of her chin to the bottom of the bottom of your canvas or bottom of your paper or whatever it is that you're drawing on. So you can go like this. 1, there's 1 head, there's 1, and then there's 2. About, okay? And then go ahead and give me a nice little ovalish shape. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of, let me see, pinch so we can see Coraline. Can you move it over a pinch? Sorry guys, I'm not sure. I can see Coraline in the image completely. Can you guys not see her? So you should be able to see both canvases, right? Are you guys not able to see both canvases? Let me know real quick in the comment section if you could. As you guys are working on that, I'm looking at the comments. Let me know, guys, if you cannot see Coraline. Okay, just let me know in the comments. I can see her in my feed. I just want to make sure that you guys can. For some reason, you know, maybe you guys can't see her and I'm seeing it on my feed. Okay, good. You can see both. Okay, yeah, you should be able to see in my feed on my laptop. I can see both, right? I got the canvases side to side. So again, guys, really quickly, thank you guys. It is a little bit tricky, right? This is probably the trickiest part I'm gonna say. Again, all you're really worried about is that just so that you proportionally have something similar to me, if that's what you're going for, all you're trying to do is that this width right here, you have two of those in from the bottom of your chin to the bottom of your canvas. And that's pretty much as complicated as it's going to get, okay? Then once you've got that, or even after you've got that shape in place, and you can make little adjustments. Let's say you go like this, and you're like, well, I made it too narrow. Maybe your head's like this, and you go like this, 1, 2, 3, I've got 3 of them. Simply increase the size of your oval a little bit, okay? Just increase it a little bit more, a little bit at a time. All these lines we're gonna be erasing in a little bit. Once we have the right shape, and once we go through and add some other things to the body, we're gonna come through and make some refinements, okay? So here we go. Yeah, try that, Glenda. Maybe jump out. That's weird. You're only seeing half her face. I don't know, guys. Yeah, I've got it. What? Maybe it's what you're watching it on, because I got the whole feed in front of me. Yeah, interesting. Okay. All right, guys. So here we go. Here's the next step. From her neck, just gonna draw a nice little line. This is about where her neck would be. I'm just gonna draw a nice little line that goes down like this. Just kind of gives me a general angle of her body, and it's slightly angled. A touch. Just gives me about where the neckline is. So right in here is where that is, right there. Okay? And then the bottom of her skirt, and it's not really going to matter too much when you're done with the drawing part of it. If your skirt is really close, or maybe you don't see her legs, you can see her legs a little tiny bit right in here. Don't worry too much about that. All you're going to do now is just to understand this. This part is longer than the skirt is, right? So from here, so maybe you've got from here to here, you've got from here to here is about halfway down. Okay, about halfway down, maybe a little bit more. So you're just gonna give me a little line that goes like this. Again, folks, this is just nice and easy, nice and loose. This is about where her blouse and her skirt meet, right here. Once you've got that little line right there, you're just going to drop down a little bit, mark off where the bottom of her skirt will be. You're creating little lines, little visuals for you to be able to see where your main breaks between the clothing and between the body, everything, all the lines in the body are going to break at these points. You're just kind of creating a little bit of a visual for yourself. Once we start to draw, this is going to make the whole process easier, okay? Any problems with the video? Awesome, guys. Thank you for trying to help each other in the comments section. All right, here we go. So we got her head, we got the body, top of the body, and then we got the area for the skirt. Okay, pretty basic. Let's go ahead and start sketching in some details on her face, her head. Okay, once you've got the general shape, it's kind of an oval shape. Again, a lot of these lines are going to disappear in just a moment. I'm going to go ahead and start in on the drawing part of this. Here we go. Okay, so we know that this is the top of her head. So I'm going to go ahead and refine this a bit. Got a little bit of an angle that goes across. Okay, I'm still sticking with some nice lines. I don't want to make really dark lines just yet in case I need to erase. From this line across, right up in here, it drops down a little bit. Okay, about like that. And then from there, it comes down at an angle and then drops down like that. This whole line is that part of her hair. Okay, so again, this whole line like this drops down, comes about right here. So we got the top of her head, We got the side where it angles down, and then we got her hairline that comes down and drops down into here. Okay. We're not worried about any of these other lines here for the moment. We're just worried about this line right in there. We're creating the outline for her head. Okay, once you've got that, you're gonna come over to the other side, right up in that corner. You're gonna come over like this, drop that down. Okay. You don't have to create any opening for the ear at the moment. You're simply following that hairline around, comes over, and drops down like that. And this side doesn't have to drop down as far as this. It's a little higher up than that side. We're still just sketching this, so there's nothing too perfect about this. We're just getting we're sharpening things up as we go. Okay, this is a nice loose way to draw something, to sketch things out. Okay, so once you've got this little point on the hair, you want to come up, bring it back up, hugs the inside of the face. Okay, and then it curves over the top. From right in here, it goes across. And I'm not worried about that shape in there or anything like that. I'm just coming over, maybe giving a little tiny bit of a point where her hair parts, comes back under. Okay, so work on that for a little bit. Let me go ahead and darken up the lines that are important right now, okay? So you guys are better able to see the lines that I just worked on. After this, I'm going to jump onto the comments, see what you guys got. Again, folks, have fun with this. Just relax. You can always come back and do this again later. So one of the things I want you guys to do is don't darken up your lines until you're happy with what you've got. Okay, once you've got the shape that you want, once you're happy with it, then you go ahead and darken them up a little bit. Not until then. Okay, not until then do you want to darken anything up. Okay, so that's what I got so far. Let's see what's happening in the comments. All right, guys, say hello. Letitia, it is for both. It's for kids and for whoever wants to join in. I know a lot of kids are painting with us today, so fantastic. This is a good way for them to learn how to draw a little bit. Okay, sometimes, depending on the painting, sometimes I won't teach any of the drawing. I'll simply create a stencil, send it out, and people can use that to trace things out. But this one's going to incorporate a little bit of some drawing. Not a little bit, a lot of drawing. All right. All right. It is a little bit difficult, Rosemary. Just relax, guys. Just relax. I understand, a little technical for some people, but just go with it. We're going to be okay. Everyone's going to be okay. Okay. Now from right in here, we're just going to bring this down. Stick with it, folks. If you want to learn a little bit of drawing, that's what's going to happen. So right here, we're just coming over, going under her chin a little bit, comes back the other way. I tried to make it as easy as possible, but depending on your skill level, it is going to be a little bit difficult. But that's part of the fun today, is to try to, maybe force yourself a little bit, get a little bit uncomfortable, but try not to stress about it. Just have some fun. So what I did right now is I just created a little line under her face. Comes up and over. Okay. Afterwards, I'm going to ask you guys to send me pictures of your masterpieces. So hopefully you guys send me stuff. Okay. What's happening, Janaya? Deanna Parrott, this is her second time painting, she says. I did Jack also. Fantastic. What's up, Aubrey? Oh, okay, it's Aubrey. How's it going, Aubrey? How are you? All right, guys. So again, we got the little face underneath. Got the hairline. And then right over here, all we're going to do is connect this back up. Okay. So work on that for a little bit. Look at what I've got on the screen. Don't stress too much, right? Again, just relax, have some fun with this. In a little while, we're going to come in here and start adding some of the features on the face. The most difficult parts, at least what I think are the most difficult parts, are getting the proportions. Once you've got the proportions, you know, some of you are going to struggle with the fingers, but don't stress. Don't stress about it. Let's go for it. Let's do this. You guys are going to be okay. So I've got her face, right? All the area underneath her chin goes across, and then I've got her hair up on top. Her hairline that goes over her face on top of her forehead comes down, and let's talk about the face now. Okay. What I want you guys to start with, I'm going to go and erase some lines in here. Anything that I don't need, all this stuff on the inside, I'm going to go through and erase it. Again, everything is nice and light at the beginning, and we slowly add more precision, more precise, more detail, precise lines to create more detail, and then we erase what we don't need. The reason why we make everything light, especially at the beginning, is so that it makes it a lot easier to erase anything we don't want, okay? So, all right, let's look at her face. She has a little curved smile, kind of crooked smile, and then she's got a nice little pointy nose. Those are pretty easy to do, pretty basic. Her eyes, just basically kind of rounded over the top, and then they get a little flat towards the bottom. And then she's got her eyebrows and freckles, and then her ear, and then we got that all done. Okay, so we're going to start with her little smile. Her little smile is close to the bottom of her chin. Okay, come up a little bit. Curve that up. I want to say hello to all the kids that are drawing and painting with us today. I have a bunch of kids events, a bunch of kids tutorials, all of them so far. This is the most difficult one you guys will encounter. All the ones that I've got are typically during the week, Thursdays and Tuesdays. Tuesdays and Thursdays. I've done some on Wednesdays, so if you guys are interested in going back and looking at those, if you guys go to the live tab on the main page, check under the live tab, you'll see a whole bunch of them. We've done SpongeBob, we've done, let's see, Pikachu, we've done some octopuses, we've done some llamas, all kinds of really cool painting, rocket ships, all kinds of cool stuff. You guys can go back and do those videos, are still available. So all right, her little mouth is nice and curved down here at the bottom, like I said. If we go up a little bit, now her nose is really close to her mouth. Okay, there's a lot of space in between the nose and the forehead, for example. So all you're gonna do is right above the mouth, you're just gonna come over, draw a little line that comes up and over, and then we go back up. Whoops, let's erase that a little bit. Remember folks, there's nothing wrong with erasing. Erasing is part of the process. Okay? So going like that. There's her little nose. Nice little point, and then we go up, slightly curved line at an angle, and you're good to go. And maybe I'm going to bring it up a little bit higher. Maybe this part of her nose is almost halfway to the middle of her face. So from here to here, halfway up her face, this little line can come up to about the halfway point. Okay? You could kind of use that as a little bit of a placement point. This part of her nose is about halfway across, vertically across the face. Okay? Here we go. Let's look at the left eye. Okay, it's nice and rounded at the top. It's up here near the forehead. Kind of close. Leave a little space in between so you have enough room for the eyebrow. Nice little rounded top. Okay, about like that. Once you've got that, you want to come down, curve it over a little. The bottom part is angled like this. Okay, I'm going to wait a little bit here. Let's check out those comments. See who's on here. Kima Russell, how's it going? Welcome back. You were here yesterday. Fantastic. Michelle Ellis says, oh, you're talking to me in the comments. All right. Well, thank you, Dina. Thank you. All right, guys. So we got the eye rounded over on the left-hand side, comes over at the top. So we got the base, the bottom of the eye is kind of a nice little line at an angle that goes like that. From there, we go up a little bit, and then we connect all of that together. Okay. Let me darken it up a little so you guys can see what we got right there. Okay, once you're done with this eye, you're going to come over to the other side, and we're going to stop with the top part of the eye as well. So from the nose, maybe from the point of the nose, if you come kind of straight up, you'll have, so from here, if you go straight up and move over just a tiny bit. So from here, go up, move over a tiny bit, and you got the space for the eye. Okay, just a little tiny bit. Now we're going to start with the inside of the eye this time. Like that. Draw the line that goes up. Then curve over the top. Again, stick with light lines, folks. Stick with light lines. So you have to erase. It's easy to do so. You got a little line that comes down on the right-hand side, drops down. They're almost like little ovals. Like you're creating the top is almost, it's ovalish. Then you've got the bottom part of the eye that goes across. And then you connect all of that together. Okay, let me darken it up so you guys can see it. Can it be difficult? Of course it can. I know it's a little bit of a struggle sometimes, and everybody has a different starting point with their drawing. It's all part of how it works. But little by little with practice, you'll get better. So hang in there. Like I said, have some fun, and you guys will be okay. So I'm looking at my eyes. Every time I do something, I like to step back a little bit, and I'll look at everything from a few feet back, so I can better gauge everything, and I can make little adjustments if I need to. I like what I've got in there. So what am I going to do now? I'm going to go ahead and add the eyelids. Okay, right across the top. Not halfway. If you found halfway up the eye, you're halfway up the eye, go up a little bit more. Go across. And they could be a little bit curved, kind of like that. Actually, this one has a little, let me do this one again. This line in here is slightly curved. It goes down and up. So, curve it up and then down. This one has a little bit of a curve like this. Okay? Nothing too important. Once you've got that, you want to give her some eyes. So the round part of her eyes. Just go like that. Nice little upside down U that connects underneath her eyelids. Okay, I'll do the same thing to the other side. This eye is a little closer to the left. It actually touches the side of her face, side of the inside of her eye. So this one does this. And I'm going to bring the canvas up a little closer to the camera so you guys can see a little bit better what I've got on her face. Okay, so something like that. Okay. So you guys got about a minute to get caught up. Then we're going to do the eyebrows, we're going to do the freckles, and then we're going to move down into her skirt. We're going to do the skirt, and then we're going to do the jacket and the arms and everything else. All right, let's take a look at those comments. Whoops. All right, looks like you guys are all busy drawing, which is fantastic. You guys are all concentrating. If you guys have any questions, put them down in the comments. If you guys want me to say hello to anyone, put that down in the comments also. If you're new here, let me know it's your first time. If you guys weren't with us here at the beginning, later today, an hour after. So this is our Coraline painting today is gonna be over no later than 4 o'clock Pacific time. So it's gonna take no more than 2 hours, and then we have an hour in between, and then Maleficent. I'm gonna be showing you guys how to do Maleficent. Okay, so for those of you that aren't aware, this is what's coming up afterwards. All right, here we go. Let's continue on here. So, Coraline has these cool little eyebrows on our left, her right eye. Right over the top, you just want a nice little curved little line that goes like that. Nothing too fancy. Okay, it does that. Okay. Little curve on the left-hand side, it drops down, goes over to a point on the right-hand side. Then, of course, her other little eye is raised up. So we're going to go up. Just like that. Maybe a little bit higher. I'm going to erase this and do it again. Okay, so I'm going to raise her eyebrow a little bit more. There we go. I like that better. Remember, nothing wrong with erasing. It's all part of the process. So the only thing you got to concern yourself with is that you're able to erase most of your pencil lines. It's okay if you have some smudges in there. We're going to be painting over all of that. But if the smudges are too dark and you're using some transparent paint, you're going to see those pencil marks come through. So you just want to be careful with that. Once you got the eyebrows in place, we're going to go ahead and add some freckles. Now the freckles aren't too important because we can always add these with our paint. But just so you guys can get a good little visual, you can go ahead and add them in now. Just a bunch of little freckles under each eye. However many you want. Kind of up to you. Now I'm going to give you guys a little close-up. We just have her ear left and a little flower on top of her head, and we're done with Coraline's face. Okay, so all you're going to do next, once you got those little freckles in there, the ear's pretty easy. I'm just going to erase this line over here to make some space. And I'm going to go nice little curved line that goes like this. Okay. So we start with a little curved line. On the top, we can bring it in a little bit. Then we bring that down. And that connects right in there. Okay, so work on that for a moment. What's up, Tanya Elizabeth? How's it going? Roni Sharia Harris Alexander says, this is fun and good to do with my kids. Yeah, that's part of the fun here. The fun is exactly that. You guys can get together, in groups, as a family, with friends, and just enjoy a little bit of art. So I want to say a couple of things right now as you guys are catching up. Don't stress too much, guys. If it's one thing that I can advise everyone, it's to not stress. Everyone's Coraline is going to look different in the end. It's not about trying to make it look exactly like the original. Sure, you can try, but it's not as important as that you have fun. Be aware that everyone's going to end up with something a little bit different, okay? Especially if you're newer at drawing. It's just part of how it works. Your Coraline's going to be a little different than mine. Mine's going to be a little different than somebody else that's drawing today. So again, everyone's going to be a little different, okay? But all right, guys, let's do the flower on the head, and then we're done. So right up in here, the little left-hand side, I'm going to draw a little circle. That's the center of the flower, and then we got some petals. And the little petals are just nice, long, kind of like long ovals. And as you go around the head, just adjust them a little bit so they don't. I suppose they could hang off the top of her head. Just nice little ovals that connect in the center. Whoops. can have 5 petals, 6 petals, 7 petals, however many you can fit, or however many you'd like. All up to you. There's our little flower. Yeah, the eyes on the face, the most challenging part is going to be the eyes. On any face, anytime you're drawing, whether it's portraits, whether you're drawing an actual person or cartoon character, the eyes are typically the most important feature. If you spread them out too far, it's not going to look like your character. If you bring them in too close, right? So spacing, size, spacing, all of that, but the eyes are the most important feature, other than the face shape is the most important feature. And of course, the trickiest part. So, all right, everyone, take a look at your Coraline's face. Make sure you've got everything. Again, I just want to remind everyone, try to keep up. Don't stress out too much. Do your best and move along with me. Okay, the video will be available afterwards if you guys want to go back and watch it again. Do it again, or simply you want to go back and go over a particular area again. Maybe you can't finish, go all the way through with us today. You can go back and start off wherever you left off, okay? Go back to wherever you left off and start again. So let's talk about the body. So again, you guys should have this little line down in here. This is the top of her skirt, okay? So this part from the neck down to the bottom of her skirt is longer than this area down here. So on the original, if I do this, okay, this part right here is longer than this part where the skirt is. Just a little visual, something to give you kind of a perspective. So all we're going to do is right in here. She has a nice little narrow waist. I want to make a little line that's not too wide. Okay, that little line right there is the top of her skirt. And then from right there, we're just going to drop it down a little bit. Flares out a little bit towards the bottom. Connects to the bottom line of her skirt. Okay, so top, right side of the skirt, and then the bottom part of the skirt. Once you've got that, skirt's pretty easy, right? You just come over to the left side and do the same thing. Here we got a little curve, a little bit of a curve that comes down and then connects. Once you've got the shape that you want, you erase any lines you don't need, like the little line in the center. And then we go right ahead and darken everything up. And just like that, we got our little skirt. Whoops. So it looks like we're going to be drawing right up until 3 o'clock my time. 3 o'clock. So we're spending about an hour on this part. Well, on the first half anyway. Right, I had to set up and everything at the beginning, so we'll be drawing for about 50 minutes, I think. Okay, once you've got the skirt, here we go. A couple of legs, skinny little legs. Just find a little spot towards the right edge. Come down to the bottom of your paper or your canvas, and then give us another little line next to that. She's got little skinny legs. You can make them skinnier or wider. Doesn't really matter too much. But she is kind of skinny, so you want to try to keep them a little on the skinny side. And then we're going to go to the other leg, and we're going to do the same thing. Little skinny legs. Okay. Skirt, legs. You guys got about a minute to finish that up and get all cut up to here, and then we're going to start up with all of this in here. What's up, Janet Cockrell? How are you? How's it going? Remember, guys, you guys can say hello in the comments if you'd like. I'm actually looking at them now, seeing if there's any questions. Also, ask your questions. Dana Boston says these eyes are killing me. Yeah, the eyes are a little tough. Not, again, the toughest part on the face. The next tough part is going to be the hands, but I believe in you guys. Vanessa Clark says I'm killing it. Awesome. That's the attitude right there. Just have fun with it, guys. Have fun. I I can sense a few gritted teeth. It's okay. So let's say we get to the drawing, we're all done with the drawing part of it, and you're not ready to paint because you want to go back and make some adjustments. You can do that, right? I'm going to continue with the painting part of it, but you can always come back once you make your adjustments and continue on with the painting part of it. You'll have to wait till the live session's over, but just keep in mind, this is about, if you guys go through this whole process, even if you're struggling all at once sitting with me, you will force your brain a little bit, and then it just makes it easier every time you come back. Every time you attempt it, the more you force yourself, you're going to pick up a little bit more each time. Pick up a little bit more each time. So it's okay to get a little bit uncomfortable. But all right, guys, let's look at the top half of Coraline's body. So her hand, her little hand right here, the top of her hand is about halfway between here and here. About. So find about your halfway little mark between the chin and the top of her skirt, about, and then just give me a little line that's going to stand for her, kind of take place of that hand. So you kind of gives you a visual of where that hand's going to be. Nothing fancy, just a little line mark, little mark right in there that says, hey, that's about where my hand's going to be. Okay? So, here we go. Right up in here, we got a little neck, a little skinny neck. And on my Coraline, this is probably about maybe ½ an inch. Okay, I'm just going to block it off like that. Nice little long neck. Probably could be a little wider. Okay. And from there, we've got her jacket. We're going to just draw a little line that comes over like this. Her jacket collar. That line from there, there's a line that drops down. Look, I'm holding my pencil nice and loose towards the back. I'm not sitting here like this trying to be too careful. Just give me some nice little light lines that we can erase if we need to. From this line right here, we're going to angle down a bit. Now this line does not come out very far. Okay, so come out maybe close to where this part of her hair would drop down. If you came straight down, come close to it, and then stop. Okay, she doesn't have a very wide profile. So just gauge it, look where her skirt is. Okay, comes out a little bit, then it's going to angle back towards her body. So let's go ahead and make that little angle. Goes like that. Of course, this is the arm. Made a little adjustment right there. From there, you bring it down to the body, to the skirt. And we got this line right in here. Okay, all the left side of her body. Close up with the eyes coming up. There's a little close up of the eyes. Oops. You see that? Okay. All right. Back to where we were. So now we're going to, right in here where this little angle comes down, right in there we're going to draw a little line that goes across. And then curves up a little. Okay, that little line there is her arm that comes up. So that goes up and over. Okay, so again, this is all in here. Once you do that from right in here, I'm going to come up and connect this line to that up to her arm. You got it, Arnika? Okay, so take a look. You guys have about maybe another minute or so to catch up here. So I've got this part of the arm. Again, guys, take a little breath. Just relax and drink. Take a drink of your water, your juice, or whatever else you might be drinking. Relax a little bit. Have some fun with this. This is the top of her hand, right? Just to kind of make sure everybody knows where we are. This line in here is where about the hand's going to be. We got this little line right here. This is the back part of her arm. Angles back, under, and goes up on the other side. That's her whole arm and forearm. Okay? We're just blocking everything off right now. So, and then we got this little line right here for the front part of her body. Of course, we got this line back in here for the back part of her body. All right, guys, so here we go. Right in here. I'm going to draw a little line that goes up. Okay? That basically is this little really light line that's in there. You can probably barely see it. Okay? I'm going to give you guys a little close up. All I did was bring up a little line right in there. That's all going to get pretty much lost under the paint. We might lighten it up a little bit. Okay. Here we go. Other side of her collar, of her neck. Other side of the other side of her jacket, collar. Okay. Right up in here, we're just going to come down a little bit. Little line that goes down like that. Okay, just like this. From there, we angle out a little bit. Not much. Just a touch. And then we're going to angle down. Not quite vertical, but pretty close. And then it comes out a little bit, and then we can go ahead and connect it to this line. We're going to have her arm that kind of sticks out in there, but just to give you guys a little bit of an anchor point. Okay, so take a look at that and do your best. Okay. Take a moment on that. Remember, guys, try to keep up. All right, who wants to say hi in the comments while you guys are catching up? I know there's a lot of concentration going on. Maybe I don't want to interrupt you guys. Jessica Chacon, first time painting here with my daughter, Delilah. What's up, Jessica? Oh, I think you asked earlier where I am. I'm in Hemet. Actually, San Jacinto. I just moved from Hemet, so. Let's see. What's up, Wonder? Woosah, Wonder. Are you drawing right now, and how are you doing? Dina, absolutely good idea. So you guys could do buttons for her eyes, right? For those of you that are familiar with Coraline, and I've got to confess I'm not very familiar, but when I was sitting and doing a little bit of research, of course, there's a time where, or one of the storylines, she gets buttons for eyes, like, you know, the fake parents. There's a storyline with fake parents and all this other stuff. And again, I don't know very much about Coraline, so forgive me if I'm getting that wrong. But she has buttons for eyes, and I actually was thinking about doing that. This is all very last minute. Might have been a really good choice because that seemed like such a cool and creepy option. But yeah, if you want to make buttons for eyes, absolutely, that would be a really cool change up. But all right, here we go. Zane, how's it going? You made it. Fantastic. Okay, here we go. Let's continue on. So right over here, I got this line that's sticking out a little bit. Right up in here, I'm going to come over. This is this part, her other arm, the arm that comes underneath. is over on this side. I'm just going to start right about here. Curves around. Goes under. There we go. You know what? I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see it a little bit better. I'm going to make this a touch bigger. Right now, when I start adding some detail in here, it's going to be a little hard for some of you to see it. So I'm just going to exaggerate this just a touch. Goes under. And then, of course, so that's this part right over there. Goes under. Okay, we have this. Once I've got this line there in place, I'm going to come over to this line right here that we created at the beginning. I'm going to go ahead and fix it a little bit. There's a wrist right in here. Okay, it goes like that. Oops, lost this line right there. So this is the wrist part. So this line here comes under. This is the forearm. It comes up, curves into the wrist. So give me a nice little line, curved line that comes back a little like that for the wrist. And then that's going to come back. So this is the forearm. Forearm. Right in here. Ah. Pretty cool stuff. I know, Vanessa. How can I not know Coraline? Now I've seen her before. I've seen her like little clips of the movies and stuff. And I guess there's books and everything else, but yeah, it definitely seems like a pretty cool character. I'm going to have to watch them. See what I've been missing, so when I did a poll at the beginning of the week or at the end of last week, and I asked, hey, what do you guys want to do? What would you like for me to do next week for Halloween? And Coraline, Charlie Brown, the Peanuts gang, and then Maleficent were like in the top 3 or 4, maybe top 5. But Coraline was like, I got an overwhelming request to do Coraline, so here we are. Okay, guys, here we go. Right over here, her hand. I've got a hand in there. And I know, guys, this is a little tough. You're not the only ones that think this is tough, okay? So let's just go with it. Have fun, like I said. I got to keep repeating that so you guys go, oh, yeah, I got to have fun. You guys need to be reminded to have some fun with this. So here we go. I'm just doing the hand. And I'll give you guys a close-up here in a moment. All I'm going to do is a little rounded part right in here that connects back into the wrist. Looks like that. Even if you're having a little bit of a tough time with this, you're learning in the process. And in case anybody's new here and is going, what the heck am I doing here? Why did I sign up for this? This is the most difficult drawing that I've done on my page so far. There'll be others like this, but there's plenty of others if you're interested that aren't anywhere near as difficult as this. Okay, but hopefully you stick it out and you stay to the end. Okay, I'm going to ask everyone to send me pictures of their stuff when you guys are all done. Okay, I just erased the top part up in here. This is where this hand's going to be. So I just come over, curve this down. So I just made a line that comes back and curves down and under. The trickiest part of this whole piece is probably these fingers. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 fingers showing. All you're going to do is give me these little, they look like little hot dogs. Okay, just like that. Little hot dog fingers. We're almost done. We're almost done. And I gotta confess, I was thinking I was gonna be adding the cat, maybe the haunted house, the house, big house, and some of these pictures that I saw. I think it's a haunted house. But I was like, better not. Better not. Okay, so we got the fingers. We're not worried about the fingernails right now. We're going to do right in here, somewhere by the elbow. We're just going to draw a line that comes down to the inside of the jacket. This right in here. Okay. Now we're going to do the outside of the jacket, the side that's flapped out. Right in here, nice little line that comes out. Above where the skirt lining is, we just move up. This is all the easy part now. The easy stuff is all that's left. And we connect that to the front of this arm right here. And then, right in here above the arm, above the hand, like towards the back of that hand, I'm going to come up straight up. It could be a little angled. And create a triangle. Goes like that. Maybe I'll make it a little bit bigger, a little wider on this side. There we go. Once we have that, I come up, finish off the jacket. And there we go. There we are. Right about at the hour mark. Okay? So take a look, ask some questions, do a little catching up. We're going to start painting. We got an hour to finish the painting part of it. I can't promise we're going to finish every single little detail on this. We're going to finish the vast majority of it. Maybe we'll have a couple little minor things to do that's left towards the end, but I'll explain it all, and you'll be able to do anything that I don't do over here. You'll be able to do on your own. Okay, I'll explain it so that it makes sense. Again, just so that I can get myself prepared for Maleficent. Okay, so, all right, let's look at these comments. I'm going to grab my paints here in just a moment. What's up, Miyala? Her doll has buttons for eyes, and it looks like her. Got it. Okay. All right, let me give you guys another close-up. I'm going to bring the camera forward a little bit so you guys can see the details on the drawing a little bit more. Okay, so while I'm getting my paints. And when I start painting, I'm going to start painting the skirt. I'm going to start painting the inside of Coraline's body. Okay, all the clothing and stuff like that. So let me get some paints ready. Get your paints ready, get your markers ready, or whatever it is that you're going to be using. Your crayons, maybe you guys are already doing it. Get your brushes ready. You guys got about 2 minutes before we get into this, maybe 3 before we get into the painting. Now I am going to move a little quickly through the painting process. There's a lot of little details to add, and I want to make sure we cover all of them. Okay, so oftentimes whatever we paint requires a second coat of paint. I'm going to ensure that we at least have one coat over everything, and if something needs a second coat, you might have to do that on your own. I'll explain that as we go through, but a second coat of paint doesn't, it's no different than the first coat, so nothing to get too concerned over. But like I said, I'm getting my paints ready, so you guys do the same. Okay, a little bit of brown. All right, here we go. Here we go. What's up, Tristan? Jessica Chacon says, I'm ready to paint. All right, guys, really quickly for anybody that might be interested. Very common paint. The paint that I use the most is this brand, Artist Loft. I picked this up at Michael's. Okay, if any of you are interested and don't have any acrylic paint, this is a good, cheap, durable brand that I get these liter bottles and they'll last a really long time. What I do is I've got an old plate right here that I used earlier. So I lay out my main colors on here. I got dark blue, I've got some red, got some black, got some white, and got some yellow. Oh, and so a little bit of brown over here too. With these colors, I can make just about anything that I need for the original painting. Okay, I'm not going to draw in the tree just now. That's going to be added in towards the end. Okay, but what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start painting the skirt. Okay, so the brushes that I use, these are some of the basic sizes. I use synthetic bristle brushes, cheap Artist Loft brand also is what I commonly use. There's a bunch of others out there. If you don't have brushes and you're interested in getting some, you don't have to get anything really expensive. Artist Loft Variety Pack has a whole bunch of different sizes in there. This is these are all synthetic. This is what you call a flat brush. So that's a little 1/4-inch brush that I've got. I've got a 1/2-inch brush that I also use. I got a larger 1-inch brush, and then I have, I don't know that this one will get too much use, large 2-inch brush, and then I have a little tiny liner brush, which is a little skinny thing, looks like almost like a pen, really skinny point. And then I do have a little 1/8 of an inch brush. Those are the majority of the paint brushes that I'm going to be using today. Okay, I have a whole bunch of other ones in here, but a lot of them are just repeats. So all right, let's get some pink on that skirt. If you don't have pink, use whatever color you'd like. I don't have pink, but I do have a little bit of red and a little bit of white. Just gonna grab a little bit of white, take some red, I mix the two together, get myself a nice little pink. Okay, like I said, we're gonna speed things up a little bit right here. I want to finish up as much as I can. Here we go, a little bit of pink. I take my brush, I'm using my little 1/4-inch brush, and what I'll do is I always like to outline everything first. Those of you that have been painting with me for a while, you guys already know how I do this. I will outline first. It just helps me stay within my lines. And then I go ahead and now acrylic paint is pretty transparent. Okay, it's pretty transparent, so oftentimes you might require another pass, another layer of paint. First one, we lay it down quick. Might be a little blotchy. Don't worry about that too much. You're not going to be able to do a whole lot on the first layer other than put it down, cover everything on the inside of your area that you're painting, and then we're going to move on. Just as quickly as that. It's not a perfect layer of paint. That gets more solid and cleaner, less blotchy on a second and sometimes even third layer. This might require a second layer, but we have to wait for this to dry before we do a second layer. So go ahead and color that in, and we're going to move on in about 1 minute. Let's check out those comments. Oh man, just watching some of you guys' comments in there. You guys are talking to each other. Fantastic, guys. Feel free to say hello and everything else to each other. You know, have little conversations in there. Okay. All right, there's our skirt. I've got a little bit of brown. I'm going to use the same size brush, a little 1/4-inch brush. I've got some brown. I'm going to grab this. So my brown's a little bit on the thicker side. If I wanted to, I could dilute it by adding just a touch of water. I don't need to. I'm just going to use this color, come in and color in those legs. Now, because the background's really dark, on my piece anyway, these are hard to see. Depending on what color background you use, maybe yours are going to stand out a little bit more. Excuse me while I lift this up a little bit. There we go. Okay, just like that. All right, still got quite a few of you guys hanging out, so fantastic. All right, so here we go. Now, her jacket is a really dark blue, almost black, from what I could tell in the pictures, that all the pictures that I found. So I'm gonna have a color that's almost black. I'm just gonna take a little bit of my black, bring it over to the side, same brush that I was just using. Then I'm gonna take some blue, and I'm gonna some dark blue, and mix the two together. So it's gonna create a really dark blue. Again, almost a black. Okay, once I've done that, I'm going to come up and I'm going to outline my jacket. I got to be careful with the hands. Don't want to get any of this color on the hands. And then I want some of my pencil marks to kind of peek through a little bit, so you don't want to cover up your pencil marks like where the arm is, like where this part right there is. You don't want to lose all that. So be careful when you get close to it. Just slightly go around it to create little tiny openings, so you can still see them when we do some. We're gonna add some light outlines on some of that stuff, so you can see it. Okay, so like that. I'll switch over to a smaller brush here in a moment to get in between the fingers and stuff. All right, so here underneath the forearm, I want to leave a little space. Don't forget, guys, to send me pictures. Last night we did that peanuts. It's it's a great pumpkin Charlie Brown. It's the great pumpkin Charlie Brown, and a whole bunch of you guys sent me pictures. And I really do like checking those out. So I'm gonna ask you guys this: when you guys are all done, send me pictures of your stuff. But if there's any kids painting by themselves today, make sure you check with your parents first before you send me anything, okay? Make sure you got to get your parents' permission. All right, so I'm switching over to my little skinny brush just so I can get around the hand over here. Okay, right underneath in here where the wrist is. Again, try to leave little tiny spaces where your pencil lines are, like right there. I have a pencil line. So you don't lose those, like where the forearm and the two arms kind of meet. There's a little tiny opening they left, so I can see that, and later I can outline it with a lighter color. Okay, so just going through and painting around the fingers. All right. Work on that for a moment. Sean Tinsley, gonna do this one later tonight. Fantastic. Yep, video will be available for you guys. So come on back and do that whenever you want. And while you guys are catching up there, just want to let everyone know that I do have a virtual tip jar. Whoops, a little too high, I think. Yeah, virtual tip jar. And I need to pull back. I need to pull back on the, got a little too close here. I'm going to pull this back. Forgot to readjust. Oops, excuse me, excuse all the movement, all the jostling around. I do have a virtual tip jar for those of you that might be interested in helping out with the page. I've got a Venmo and I've got a PayPal. They're both under Painting with Jesse, all one word. Painting with Jesse, one word. And then I do have a Zelle, 951-217-2237, for those of you that are able to and would like to. You guys can tip your art tender. Okay, this information is also listed in the description of the video, so you guys can go check that out. You don't have to check it out right now. Stay here. Don't go anywhere. It will be in the description of the video. You guys can always go back and check that out. Okay? All right, guys, so here we go. What are we going to do next? We're going to add a little bit of red. I actually am going to make a little adjustment with my paint. So what I'm going to do, if you guys are new to acrylic paint, in between your steps, you want to make sure you put your brushes back into the water. Okay, so as you finish using a brush, you want to put it back into your water cup. I got a water, I don't know if I mentioned it, I think I did at the beginning, but I've got water in here. I leave the brushes in there so that they don't dry out on me in between steps. Acrylic paint dries very quickly. So I'm just going to take this right in here, I'm just going to make a little tiny adjustment with my brush. Just going to bring this little part of her jacket in a little tiny bit. Make her a little bit more narrow, and it's going to look a little bit more like the original. I can bring that out just a little tiny bit also. All right, let's get some red. I cleaned up my brush a little bit. I use a paper towel to clean it. I also swirl it around in my water like this. Okay, do that. Now I'm simply going to grab some red like this, and I go right into her little red top. Okay. Can't forget to get the top part like this. All right. Robin Niemer Eaton, no worries. Yeah, guys, if any of you have to take off, just remember the video will be available later. And then we got Maleficent after this one's all over. Okay, so a little bit of reddish on her shirt. What I like to do is anything that's similar in color, I like to do all those at the same time. So I'm going to mix the color for her skin. She has a little bit of a pinkish skin tone, and I'm going to make it. I don't have a skin tone color. If you've got pink, like the one I created for the skirt, just bring it over to the side. Take a little bit of white paint, mix the two together, lighten it up really, really well. And then you're going to take a little tiny bit of yellow, just a touch. So pink, a little bit of white, a little bit of yellow. Mix the two together. You want to make enough because you're going to cover the entire face in a moment, and then her hands. Okay. So here we go, a little bit more. So again, the colors are pink or red and white, but pink, white, and then a little bit of yellow. The yellow tones down the pink color just a touch. And you might need to use a little tiny bit of brown. It's up to you. Once you've got the color that you want, looks kind of like a skin tone, or her cartoon character skin tone, you're going to go right into it. Now I'm going to do the hands. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and do the hands first. Little skinny brush, little pointy liner brush is what I'm going to use. So this little guy right here. So all these little pencil marks for the fingers, I'm going to go ahead and cover over them. I can still see them because the paint is transparent. But I want to cover most of that up. As long as I can see a little bit of it is all I really need. Because later I'm going to come in with some black to outline the separation between the fingers. Then I'm going to come over here and paint this hand right in here. I'm going to take a moment to make a little adjustment over here with the black, or the dark blue that I use for the jacket. Apologize if I'm going a little too fast. I am picking up the pace a bit, looking at the time. I want to make sure that we finish on time. All right. Once I do the hands, I'm going to go ahead and using the same little 1/4 inch brush, I'm going to come up and paint the face. Now, what I like to do normally is I'll outline everything first. I'm outlining the eyes, right? I can go right over the freckles. I can paint over the freckles because, again, my paint is transparent. I can still see them coming through. Outline the inside of her hairline. And now I can go ahead and start painting over everything. Except for the eyes, right? We don't want to paint the eyes. Try to keep up with me, everyone. If you see me move away to another step, move with me. You can always go back and finish the step that you were previously on. Right now we're just painting, and pretty self-explanatory on the paint part. Other than a few little things you got to be careful with. Once you do the first layer or two, you kind of get the hang of it. Okay, so there's the face all in pink. I am going to take a little bit of brown, a little touch of brown. I'm going to mix it with my pink to darken it up just a touch, to create a darker shade. And I'm going to do two things with this color. I'm going to add it right over her eyelids, like a little bit of eyeshadow. This can be a little bit lighter. Probably made it a little too dark. Oops, let me switch over to a smaller brush. So if I wanted to, I could just lighten it up a little bit more. Yeah, it is a little too dark. So I'll lighten it up a little bit. So I'm just going to lighten it up by adding a little tiny bit of white. Now I can come in here. Once I outline the eyes and everything else, this eyeshadow wouldn't look as prominent. Okay. So there's my eyeshadow. I'm also going to take some of this brown. This could be a little darker. I'll take some of this brown, and I'm going to come over and a little shadow right here, side of her head. Just like that. Danielle Bradley, are you asking about which color? Oh, pink, brown, white. So yeah, to make the skin color, I mixed together a little bit of pink, a little bit of brown, and a little bit of, to make this area for the eyeshadow. A little bit of pink, a little bit of brown. Okay. If you're talking about the skin tone, I mixed pink or red and white, and a touch of yellow. Okay, so a little bit of pink, little touch of yellow, and some white to make that skin color. Okay, and you can tone it once you have a general color. You can tone it. Let's say you need to be a little lighter. You add some more white. If you need to be a little more red toned, give it a little bit more red. So once you begin mixing your colors, you'll get the feel for it and go, oh, I need to add more, more of this or more of that. Okay? And then let's not forget the neck. She has a, she's got to color in that neck a little. So in here. I'm going to take just brown. Okay. Just some of my brown here. She has brown eyes. Using my little liner brush. Okay, a little liner brush. Come in here and I do each eye in this dark brown. Okay, once you've colored in the eyes in that brown, you can use that same brown. What I do with my liner brush, one little tip right here, whenever I pull paint from my palette, if I'm going to make really skinny lines, I can just spin the brush. I press the brush into the paint and I spin it as I pull it out, and it makes the point really skinny. I'm better able to come in and make little tiny lines. So what I'm going to do is I take this brown and outline the eyes, the nose. I'm going to give her some freckles in a moment. Actually, you know what? I'm going to hold off on the freckles. In case we have to do a second layer of paint on her face, we're not going to put any freckles in there. I'm going through and outlining the eyes, the eyelids, another little tip, oftentimes you've got to add some water to your paint. You dip your brush in the water cup, bring some water over, and you mix it into your little section of your paint. Mix it in really well, and it helps the paint work more like ink. I'm also going to take that brown and come in and paint her mouth. Now her mouth could be a little darker if I wanted to, and I probably will in just a bit. I could take a little bit of my black, mix it in with that brown, and go over the top of that. I'm not going to do that just yet. What I am going to do is I'm going to outline the bottom part of her face. Just like that. Donna Baker, how's it going? You're late, but you made it. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. And then Rosemarie Montenegro, looks like you got. Did you get thrown off the video, or was it maybe there was a problem with your connection? Push this guy back a little bit. Hoping nobody else had that problem, but every once in a while things like that happen. Technical difficulties happen. Okay. I'm also going to outline the neck in this brown. Okay. While I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and do this in brown. I'm going to go ahead and outline her little fingers. Black or brown in this case doesn't really make much of a difference. Probably brown might be a little more suitable because of her skin tone. But either one will be just fine. I'm just outlining the fingers. In a little while, when we're working with the moon and the white, we're going to come in and touch up the areas right around her eyeballs in white. Okay? So, in case some of you are wondering, I like to do light colors together because I'm able to transition between my colors more easily. So if I'm working with brown, I usually will do everything that I've got in brown together. Or if I've got shades of that brown, I'll try to incorporate those in there. So just makes it a little more of an efficient way to paint, but nothing that's etched in stone. That's how you have to do it. If you've got red, an area that you're working that's red, you got some more red over there and some more red over there, and you only want to do this red first, then you want to go to your purple area over here and your yellow area over here, and then go back to your red. No problem. All right, guys, here we go. We're going to work with a little bit of black. Okay, and what we're going to do is I'm actually, whoops, let's see here. Joel, I think you're asking, what is your name? My name is Yellow. My name is Yellow. I looked at one of the comments pop up. My name is Jesse. I was talking and reading at the same time. So the yellow that I'm using for this mixture is just because of the brand that I'm using doesn't have a special name. It's basically my Artist Loft yellow. Again, nothing fancy with it. It's just a very basic yellow. A canary yellow is probably what it is in actuality. Okay. All right, guys. So I'm going to take a larger brush now. We go over to my little 1/2-inch brush. I'm going to grab just black. Now her hair can have a little bit of a blue tint if you'd like. So if you want to give it a blue tint, put a little tiny bit of blue in your mix. Otherwise, you're grabbing straight black. And again, I outline first. We got a big flower in there that or a little flower that I got to be careful with. So I outline everything first. Probably should have outlined the flower first, but as long as I'm careful, it should be all right. Just working my way around the flower, working my way around the ear. A little bit, I'll take a smaller brush to work my way around the flower petals. Then what I'm also going to do is right in here, like on the original, there's another little piece of hair on the inside, little point. I'm just going to come in and I can make it with this brush. Just like that. Again, folks, I just want to mention for those of you that are new to my page, I got lots of really cool kids videos and adult videos. I got not adult, not like that. The center on all ages videos that you guys can go back and access using the live tab on the main page under Painting with Jesse. Rachel Connerly, painting from Germany. Thank you, Jesse. My kids and I look forward to painting with you. Fantastic, Rachel. All the way from Germany, huh? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Hi, Vanessa. What's up, Rosemary? Maybe you guys are saying hi to each other, and over here, I think you guys are saying hi to me. Hi to everybody anyway. What the heck? I don't care who you're saying hi to. I'm going to say hi to you. If I see a hi, I'm saying a hi. All right, guys, here we go. So again, black all the way around. Take my little brush. Little skinny brush. I'm going to come in and Dip it into my paint. A little liner brush. I'm just going to come around my petals. Just like that. Okay. And then while I'm working on black, she has black eyebrows. Let's get those in there. Whenever I come up close to the canvas and I gotta work a little bit with a little bit of precision, what I'll do is I'll take my pinky. As long as there's no paint on here or wet paint on there, I can put my knuckle, my hand right up against the canvas and I can just paint right in there. Okay. Again, the freckles, I'm not going to do anything with those. Just in case we have time to do a second layer of paint, we want to do all that together. Oh, and I forgot to put in pink on the ear. So I'm going to do that, go ahead and do that now. Can't forget the ear. Like that. And then I also want to outline that in brown. Now normally I don't outline the outside of my characters or my paintings until I've got the background all in. But in this case it's not going to make too much of a difference, and we can always go back and outline again later in case we need to. And then since I've got black, still working with black, I'm going to go ahead and take my little liner brush and give Coraline little black pupils, little round ovalish pupils on each eye. So here on this eye, it's kind of in the center. And this eye needs to be a little fixed up a little tiny bit, but you can see a little pupil in the center, a black oval part on the inside. And then over here on the right side, if I come in here and do the same thing, but the oval or the pupil touches the edge of the eye, the inside edge, whereas this one is just in the middle. And they both touch the top part of their eyelids, of the eyelids. Hopefully I'm not blocking you guys when I bring my hands up in here. I'm painting to the left of my canvas a little bit, so I'm not right in the center, so I don't block you guys. But sometimes my hand will come up and do this, and I might block some of you. I'm going to take a moment to just kind of adjust the top of her head a little, using just my little tiny liner brush and some black paint. There we go. Okay. I'm going to take a little bit of purple for her flower. I didn't pour out any purple, but I've got red and I've got blue, and if I combine red and blue, what happens? I can make some purple. So I take a little bit of blue, take a little bit of red, I'll mix the two together, and voila. If I want a more violet color, I can add more blue. If I want a more of a, more of a burgundy color, I can add a little bit more red. If I want to lighten everything up, just add a little bit of white. So I hope you guys are having fun with me today. I am having fun with you guys, and then I hope to see a bunch of you guys on the Maleficent painting. Just going around, doing all the little petals. Also, folks, don't forget to share my page. It helps a lot if you guys share your page, invite your friends. When you post your pictures on your social media, you guys can mention painting with Jesse and how much fun you had. That would be greatly appreciated. You'd help the page grow quite a bit. I'm going to take a little bit of black. And no, actually no, I'm going to stick with my purple. I'm going to stick with dark purple. And so I can do the inside, the very center of the flower. Nothing fancy to this flower. Just a few little petals. There we go. All right. Josie Warren, sounds good. Yeah, East Aguilar, yes, the hair is black. You could add a little bit of a blue tint to the hair if you want, by mixing in a little bit of blue. That would work just fine, and it would contrast a little bit, wouldn't make it so stark, right? But either way works. So we're pretty much done with Coraline's face and body and everything else. Now, I don't think we're going to get to this part, but we'll see how time goes here in a little bit. What I would do is come in and do another layer of all my paint. So I'd come over and do another layer of pink on the skirt, another layer of red, especially in the shirt. You see it's kind of blotchy. The jacket doesn't necessarily need any layer of paint. But here's what I would do in here. I'm going to go ahead and do it now. I'll take a little bit of blue. I'm going to add a little touch of white to it. This can also work with black. I can do a gray. So I'm going to do both. I'm going to do black, blue, so both of those colors, and then a little bit of a white. Just going to lighten up. Almost like going to look like a bluish gray. What I am going to do with this color is simply come in here and just outline like that part of the arm, right here above the forearm. Okay, let me bring this up close. Okay, here, then underneath her arm, comes across, okay, like that. I'm also going to outline the jacket in here. And then up in here. And that should do it. Just outlining a little bit to make some of the parts of the jacket stand out. Okay, so here, 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 and then right up in there. But again, what I would do is add another layer of everything just to make everything stand out a little bit more. Since I don't think we're going to have time to do another layer on the face, I am going to go ahead and do the freckles now. You don't have to. The freckles are easy, right? I just take a little bit of brown. You could also maybe even do it with a little bit of red. And I'm just going to come in here and get with the little, give her little freckles. Again, for those of you that are new at painting, a second layer just evens things out much better. Okay? So here we go. We better get into our background. What you're going to do for a moment, you're going to take your pencil, you're going to switch over to your pencil, and you're going to create the large moon all the way around her head. So all this is a nice big circle. Remember, stick with the light pencil marks. It's easier to make adjustments if you need to. Okay. Okay. Then while you're at it, go ahead and give me this little mountain or ridge that's behind her. From up over in this corner, doesn't really matter too much where you started. Somewhere over to the side, kind of middle of the canvas. I come underneath. Go behind her. Go under the jacket, okay? Go under the jacket so that this dark blue doesn't connect to the jacket, and the jacket might get kind of lost in there. So down and under, behind the skirt, comes up over on the other end. Okay, just like that. Again, guys, don't stress if you're falling behind or things are picking up and you're not ready. You're going to be able to watch this video later. Okay, as soon as the live is over, you can go over to the live tab on the main page and you'll find the video there. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take some dark blue. I'm going to take my big, large brush so I can work faster because the surface, I need this to cover a lot of surface quickly. I'm going to take my big 2-inch brush here. Okay, hold on one second. I'm actually going to grab a second plate, which I think I got underneath here. Do I not? Yes, I do. I'm going to use a second plate here. I'm going to grab a bunch of this blue paint. I'm going to bring it over. Probably need more than this paint, so I better pour out some more. I'm going to grab some water too and mix the two together. So here's some paint on my new plate. I'm going to take my brush, dip it into my water cup. Here's what I mean by that, folks. Whoops. Let me grab that. I'm going to show you guys what I mean, in case you guys aren't familiar with it. What I mean by dipping my brush into my water cup. So here's my water cup. I dip my brush in there, and it does this, right? So what I'll do, I don't put the brush all the way down in there. Just use it. I just dip the bristles into it. Now when I do this water, I can bring the water over onto the plate like this, and I can go. Because I'm working on the background and I want this paint to flow nicely, I'm going to mix this paint really well. I don't want runny paint, so one way that I test that is I'll hold the plate sideways like this, like that. And if the paint isn't running down the side of the plate, then I'm good to go. Okay, if it starts to run, I need to add a little more paint to it. All right, here we go. Okay, right in here. See, this big, large brush helps me cover ground very quickly. Of course, when I get close to Coraline's body, I'm going to stop, and then in a little bit I'll switch over to a larger brush. A smaller brush, sorry. Okay, just like that. So I'm going to spend about a couple of minutes on this, and I'll look over at any comments, see if there's any questions. And again, this is going to be a little blotchy, a little transparent. This is only the first layer. For my backgrounds, I almost always do at least 2 layers, but I typically end up doing 3. So once this dries, I would come back as I'm working on, so I lay this layer down, I move around, and I'm working on other areas. As I'm doing that, this layer is drying. Eventually it's dry enough where I can come back and do another layer over the top, right? And I'll do that, like I said, 2, maybe 3 times, and eventually it gets really nice and dark and get pretty even. So that's all I do for this step. I am going to take a smaller brush here, my little 1/4-inch brush. I'm going to come in here on the inside. Outline Coraline's body a bit. Okay, just like that. Again, don't worry too much If it looks blotchy, you're going to fix that on the second or even third layer. Okay, all right, let me take a look at the comments, see if there's anything new here. Looks like everybody's probably concentrating on what they're doing because I don't see any comments, but. So take a little bit on that. In a moment, I'm going to switch over to the light blue. I'm going to do the white last. I'm going to do the light blue, then I'm going to come in. Actually, no, I'm going to do the light blue, then the white part of the moon. We're going to do the eyes, and then we're going to come in and do the hand. We're about 15 minutes away from 4 o'clock, so we're going to paint we are going to paint a little bit more than that. Give myself a little bit of a buffer. And I should be fine, so. Painting is about making little adjustments. As I look at my Coraline, I can see that on this side of her face, I could round this up a little bit more to make it look like the original. It's a little small change that I'm going to make right now. While you guys are working on that, I'm just going to take one of my smaller brushes. I'll use the black paint to do that. So again, as I'm sitting here looking at my painting, I realize that maybe I'm going to raise the camera a touch here first so we can get a better view of everything. All right, that should do it. I'll come in here and I'll do this by adding little lines on the edges. I can curve this in a little bit. So now her face, that corner of her face isn't as pointy as it was a little bit ago. I do this slowly, coming in real tight to the hairline and slowly moving in. I can also come in here and clean up my hairline a touch, make it a little smoother. Okay. All right. Okay, everyone, so let's do the light blue. I'm going to take the original blue that I just used on the same plate. I'm going to take some white. I'm going to add some white to that to give myself a nice light blue. Still going to use the big brush. Actually, let's see. Yeah, I'll still use the big brush. The larger the area, generally speaking, the larger the brush I use. Helps me cover more ground, except for when I'm doing detail work. If I gotta do a lot of detail work, then I'll switch brushes. So here I took some white paint, mixed it in with my blue paint. Made it nice and light. I'm going to go ahead and dip my brush into the water again. Again, just the bristles. I don't go all the way down into the metal part because then water gets down inside there and it can start to come out when I paint. Cause drips. The big part here that I want to be careful about is going around the moon, so I'll do that first. And then of course when I get close to Coraline's body, I don't want to get any paint on that. So we'll come around, whoops, canvas is moving a bit, so I'm going to stabilize it with my other hand. Work my way around the moon. Then I can go ahead and fill it all in. You guys see a little drip right there on my moon? I try to avoid that, but it's sometimes going to happen. Let's clean that up, especially when the paint is really fresh like that. It comes right off. But you do want to get to it rather quickly. If you let it dry for a little bit, you're going to have it's going to be harder to take off. You guys notice I got a few little stars up in the sky towards the top. Those come in at the very end. So once I've got this whole area covered in this light blue, what I can do then is take my brush. I'll show you guys here in a moment. With a circular brush stroke, I create a bit of movement around the moon, so I can kind of do this. It's almost like the brush strokes create a little bit of movement in the sky around the moon. And then I can kind of do this. I can dip my brush into the dark paint a little, like this. And I can come up here in my corners and just over the top. I can make those corners as dark as I want. I might, if I wanted them really dark, I'd have to do that on the second pass once this is all dry. But okay, kind of like that. All right. Gonna take one of my smaller brushes once again. I go back to my little 1/2-inch brush and take some of this light blue and work my way around the moon back in tight to Coraline's body. And then I just go ahead and do this. Outline it. Make sure that I come in close to the ridge. Landmass, whatever that is down below. Again, I don't know the story behind Coraline, so it's a hill or canyon, something like that. But I promise I'm gonna watch me some Caroline stuff. I mean some Coraline stuff, videos, cartoons. All right. Who knows? Maybe we'll do some more. If there's enough people wanting to do some, we'll do some more. All right, guys. So take a little bit to do this. So I would also take my blue and I would come in here and make refinements to my moon. Make it a little rounder. Little adjustments. All right. Work on that for just a little bit. We're about to do the white part of the moon, and then we're going to do the tree, and then we're good to go. We sign it, and we're good. You guys can see in my painting as I'm looking at them side by side on the laptop, but there's some differences between the two, right? This face over here is larger. That one's got a little bit more refinement. That's what you'll find. Sometimes, it's just the way it is. But it still looks like Coraline. I can come over here and I can maybe adjust this side, bring it in a little bit to curve that face, this side of the face a little bit more. Okay, I can make adjustments to the hairline if I wanted to, but I'm not going to mess with it too much. But all part of how this works. Okay guys, let's talk about that moon. The moon is all white. I'm going to take my 1/2 inch brush for this. Okay, a big old 1/2 inch brush. Just gonna come in here. I'll go around and clean up my brush a little bit. Got a little bit of black in there. Just gonna come in here and work my way around. I gotta pick things up a little bit, folks. So I'm just gonna work my way around Coraline's head. Then I outline everything first. Near her body, and I'll switch over to a smaller brush in just a little bit. But I can go through here and add. I can also use the white to make adjustments to the edge of the moon, right, to the outer part, like this. Actually, I'm okay with this brush here. I don't need to switch. Alright. Well, what I am going to do, even though the moon is white, right? Even though everything's white, the canvas is white, somebody might say to me, hey, why do we need to add white paint to the canvas since the canvas is already white? You don't have to. Okay, you don't have to, but it does make a little bit of a difference. There's a difference between a bare white canvas and a painted white canvas, depending on the type of paint that you're using also. If, for example, you're using glossy paint, if you're using glossy paint throughout, and your canvas is a matte finish, which most canvases are, I don't think I've ever seen any canvas that wasn't, you will be able to tell the difference. So now I'm taking a little lighter brush, dipping it right into my white paint. Don't forget to spin it to make your point really small. Spin it when you push it up against the brush. Against the plate. Then you can come in and get the little areas around the eye. Okay, it makes your eyes pop out a little bit. Tree time. Let's talk about that tree. You guys got about a minute to catch up, and we'll talk about the tree here in just a little bit. We're going to spend another 10 minutes with this and we're done, folks, okay? So, again, if you're not quite here, do watch what I'm doing, or maybe you're back here somewhere, pay a little attention. I'm going to talk about some things here. So we're going to do the tree here in a moment, but the next step for most of you would be to go back and add another layer. So this is all dry for me now, or it's almost dry. Once it's dry, it's not totally dry, but once it's dry, I would come in and add another layer here of this dark paint. I would do the same thing to the outside. I'd add another layer of paint there. You can also add another layer of paint to her skin tone, her face, her clothing, up to you guys, for further refinement. And then if your tree branches are going to need another touch up, you would do that too. Okay, but adding a second layer would be the next step. And if I was to do that now, I would actually start with her clothes. I would start with her, and here the pink. I'd kind of work my way back to where we started with the clothing, right? The skirt, the jacket, the blouse, her red top, or whatever. I don't remember which order we did that in, but it doesn't really matter too much. Then her skin, maybe outlining, that kind of stuff. Okay, and then I'd go and do the area back behind her. But let's talk about that tree. Black paint. We're going to start with a skinny brush. You always want to do tree branches, trees, you want to do them nice and skinny to begin with. Very important. Got some water on my brush. I mix it in with my paint really nicely because I'm going to be drawing with this paint. I want it to flow nicely. So water, paint, mix the two together. I'm going to start right up above here where I want that hand, this big part, to kind of come in. So I'm just going to kind of break the surface with the moon. Now the paint's going to turn a little bit on the gray side because I'm putting black paint over white paint. Okay, but it's no big deal. I'm just going to do this. Now I'm going to work my way back. Here's where everything stays nice and skinny. Just work my way back, creating the shape of not the general shape of the hand. I'm going to come down, nice and skinny. I'm working on this big finger that comes out like that big branch that looks like a finger. Goes over almost all the way to the other side of the head. I'm using the skinny part of my brush. Okay, and then I can kind of do the same thing in the other direction. Comes over, down like that. Skinny, folks. Stay skinny first. Then you're going to come in and add thicker layers to your paint. You're going to widen things, make them bigger. Maybe working on this big one on top. Comes up, over, down. Okay. Then we got the little one down in the front. Cut like this. Okay. I'm going to make the other ones with a smaller brush in a little bit. Before I do that, I want to go ahead and start widening the back part. And again, work slowly, add a little bit of thickness at a time. You don't want to make it too broad right from the get-go. Comes over. The hand will also require a second layer. It's kind of transparent right now. These branches. Thicken that up too. Now this part that looks almost like the palm of the hand, I can kind of create that now. Kind of sticks out a little bit. Comes back down. We're creating a little bit of a rectangular shape in here. This guy right here takes a little bit of has a bit of a thicker base, as does this. And that. And then this. If you guys go back and watch this all on the recorded version, you're going to be able to pause it and back it up, right? So I'm going through this kind of quickly. I normally would slow this down quite a bit, but a little pressed for time today. Okay, like that. Adding a little bit of thickness to each branch, a little bit at a time. Okay, now take this big brush, switch it for a smaller one. My little 1/8 of an inch brush. Just going to come in here, and I'm going to go up in here. Whoops, made that too thick. Skinny part of the brush. Just come over, make this long one that kind of tendrils out. Comes down, okay, somewhere like that. So they're a little thicker at the base, but everything gets skinnier the further out it goes. At least that's the general idea. Okay. That one maybe, excuse me, goes up a little bit and then drops down. If you have any brushes you can't make little tiny points with, then you want to go to a smaller brush. Excuse me. You'd want to switch over to a skinnier, liner brush. Okay, so that's about all I'm going to do with that brush. Now I am going to go ahead and switch to this little tiny guy right here. I can use that then to refine all my little branches. Some things have these little guys that kind of stick out. Like that. Make all the points skinnier. Okay, right in here. Make it look kind of gnarled, right? Give your branches some knots, your trunk some knots. Up in here, maybe. All these branches are nice and pointy and kind of skinny and scary looking. Okay. But all right, guys, that's pretty much that. Again, taking into account, you would go back and do another layer over everything. Okay. Somebody asked, I think Rosemary's saying we need to draw the branch. You could draw it. You could draw it if you wanted to with pencil. I drew it out with my paint. Okay. You can draw with paint just like that. Okay, so anyhow, that's how we would do that. Let's see. Rosemary Montenegro, is that what you were talking about? I'm hoping that's what you're talking about. I was sticking my hand out in there to see how far behind the video is. There's a delay on my laptop. There's always a delay. But anyway, folks, that's what you would do. From here, you would do a second layer on everything. But again, you want to start with your clothing first. Work your way up to the face. You want to make sure the areas are all dry. Whenever you're going to add a second layer to, you want to make sure it's dry first. On that second layer, you're going to start getting an effect that looks more like this. Everything's nice and more solid, cleaner, not as blotchy. And the more layers you do, the more you'll get of that, okay? The moon, I didn't do another layer. Here's what I would say. Your moon isn't going to be, it's not going to be that, if you don't, you're probably not going to need a second layer on your moon because it's white on white, okay? So you would only need the first layer on your moon. And then, the stars. How do we make stars? In case some of you guys are wanting to make some stars. You can take the back of any one of your smaller brushes, you dip it right into your paint like this, okay? And you just go right in there. The smaller the handle, the smaller the little point's going to be, and the less pressure you put on the end of this, the smaller your stars are. Okay, so that really tiny stars. As you begin to lose the paint on your brush, the stars get smaller. You vary the pressure and you get different size stars on there. But all right, guys, I've got to run. I do appreciate all of you guys being here. Don't forget, please send me pictures of your masterpieces. I would love to see what you guys all produce. Send them to me via the messenger here on Facebook. You can also put your pictures in the comments of this video. Don't forget, for those of you who want to go back and continue watching this, it'll be up in just about, it takes about 5 minutes before it actually pops up, but it'll be up in my lives video tab on the main Painting with Jesse page. Okay, guys, thank you guys. See you guys all on the Maleficent piece, hopefully. All right, talk to you guys all soon. Bye-bye.